You're listening to the Racing Virginia podcast. Now, here are your hosts.
I'm Dave C.
And I am Brandon Brown. Still not NASCAR.
And by the way, we got a big shout out. We did it on social media, or you did, and he shared it. Did you see that?
The
About him making it.
Yeah.
But big shout out to Brandon Brown. Yes, it was 12th. But he made the final 12 and made the Xfinity playoff.
Which is huge for a family team out of Fredericksburg.
Do you know how many Cup owner teams or big money teams didn't make it?
Yeah, tons. They did. And I was thinking of this too. He had a couple really bad pieces of luck throughout the year.
Yeah.
And still managed to finish 12th in the points. Could have potentially finished 11th, 10th, and they said they're gonna rent some engines from ECR.
Would that be cool?
And
if he came out and won the damn
comes
thing?
Out because look,
him or Harrison?
They got Talladega coming up.
He's always
in that
good.
In that first round of the playoffs. You don't know what's going to happen.
No, and Brandon's been pretty good on the plate races.
Yeah,
really has. He's been really good.
He gets himself in the right position. He could make some noise and potentially make it on to the next round.
If you listen to the podcast, and we hope you do, Brandon, congratulations from us here at Racing Virginia.
Absolutely.
Your uncles. Well, I could be an uncle. You can't.
No,
You'd be you're like
brother.
a stepbrother.
I'm his twin brother.
It's his twin.
His named twin brother.
Oh, man. What's some great racing this week, dude?
Yeah.
I mean, it just was. I mean, the amount I got to give it to Tyler, okay? Tyler Crossnow is the vice president at VMP. He is the man, okay? He might as well put vice president, marketing director, social media director.
Doing a little bit of everything.
Because on his own account, I didn't see I don't know who's doing the VMP social media stuff.
I think it was him.
I do
think it was him.
But he was posting out, pictures of cars and number one qualifier times. They had 6 inches of rain or something like that on Thursday.
Yeah. Oh, it was bad.
It was terrible.
It rained all day.
Yeah, because it started Wednesday with practice, and it rained all day. So it kind of put them behind the 8 ball. I don't know what they did to that track, but Tyler and the other guy that helps him did a phenomenal job on that track, and there were a lot of world records set.
Awesome.
It was crazy amount of world records. The world record in one class kept getting broken.
Well, what did they say? The track was cool. It was
horsepower, baby.
The conditions when they got to race, the conditions were perfect for some low ETs.
I forgot. Well, it's coming back in September of 2021. Yeah. In fact, Tyler said he got a little emotional in the drivers' meeting because he's got Outlaw Reunion, I think, early in the season.
Yep.
And then SmackDown is in September. Again, coming back. And there were a lot of cars there. And
something that I just noticed that Brian Loans, who does the announcing on Fox for the Mellow Yellow Drag Racing Series, was tweeting about the Radial versus the World.
Yeah.
And how cool it was and how it's just phenomenal. So kudos to Tyler. Kudos to all the folks at
doing
VMP.
A great job.
For some awesome racing this weekend.
Hoping to go have lunch with him this week, just sit and talk. I mean, he's a cool cat.
Yeah,
really is.
Yeah, knknowlegiable.
Yes, very, and good on the radio.
Articulate.
I'm gonna tell you something. He's good on them. He's good in interviews. He's one of the best we've had.
So don't have him replace me or anything.
No.
Be a little better.
No, Brandon. I know you just want a little, you get a little praise, I understand that.
I want no praise.
Okay.
I want no praise.
Look, I tell you every week.
I don't deserve it.
That you get better and better and better, and this show is getting better and better because of it.
I'm trying, man.
Okay. And I think with what I'm doing and what you're doing, we kind of split up some of the duties.
Yeah.
And it's working well. Now we're flying on all the directories. Folks, how many times I got to say this? You have no excuse. You have no excuse now, unless you just hate me or Brandon.
Yeah.
You know?
You're going to reiterate this later, I bet, too.
I know I will. I'm going to keep saying that until I see the numbers go up, you know? So, but it's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts. I mean, it's on
any place where you like to listen to your podcasts. Yeah. Put it in the queue.
Do you know the one I didn't realize that some of the directories actually pull from Apple Podcasts.
Yeah. We're everywhere.
But I'm just saying, I guess that's the easy way to do it. Yeah. You know, they don't have to have somebody, because I had to go to a lot of different sites and sign up.
I'm really glad that you had that part of the workload we were talking about. I like to do, you know, I'll cut it up and put it on social media. I get the glamorous. I get to hit the button that puts it on the website and all the easy good stuff.
Okay, but another thing you got to do. Pit reporter. Langley.
Yeah, got a phone call from our buddy Vaughn Crittenden.
I was seeing
the week.
So did I.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll go ahead and tell that part of the story. You can tell the reason that I got to do it. So got a call from Vaughn, and he's like, "Hey man, not going to be there on Saturday. We need somebody to take the mic and go report in the pits. Would you be interested in doing it?" And I'm like, "Let me ask the missus." And she said, "Absolutely, go ahead and do it." And I texted Vaughn. I'm like, "I'm in. Let's do it." And he's like, "Yeah, we'll even pay you." And I was like, all right, let's go. But he said, Dave C has the first right of refusal.
I knew that.
Yeah.
I just passed it down to you.
I appreciate you. I appreciate your life and what you've brought to mine, sir.
My life was a little hectic this weekend.
Mine was not.
It was so hectic I forgot to call Vaughn back.
So I got to drive down to Langley, Larry King Law's Langley Speedway for the Virginia Ship Repair Race Night, presented by who'syourdriver.org.
And your voice was heard on what is it? The NBC
NBC Sports Gold Track Pass. Yeah. I tell you what, I for anybody who doesn't know or has never done it before, I was nervous too, because your voice is being heard by not only everybody in the bowl, in the stadium, at the track, but you're going to be live on TV for anybody who's listening to it. So, and I had never done it before. I had never done. Did
you do? Well, no. If you're a pit reporter, you're not just doing Victory Lane.
No. So what I had to do is when I went to broadcasting school, that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I wanted to do. But I'd never gotten to do it, so I thought it was pretty cool that I got to do it. So I went down and I talked to my buddy Buck Roos, and he was the one.
Is awesome.
And he was the one up in the booth calling the race. And I tell you what, I wouldn't have been able to do anything if it wasn't for his help walking me through, pre-race, because I got down there and he told me exactly what to do, exactly what to say, and all I had to do was execute it. Yeah. And big shout out to Buck for helping me out.
I'll let you know. I've been trying for I don't know how many years to get Buck to come be the announcer at Virginia Motor Speedway.
Yeah, he's good.
He's good, really good.
Oh my gosh! So that's what made it. But
he likes asphalt racing too much.
It happens. But he knew. He was able to fill all the spaces in with historical facts about all the drivers, the teams, their aunts, their uncles, their third cousins.
The amount of knowledge in his head. I've probably been to a lot of the races he's been to, but I couldn't spit that knowledge.
And it was so falsely. That was one of the things that I was concerned about, because I didn't have the historical knowledge of all the drivers and teams and stuff that he did. So I just tried to fill in where I knew stuff. I said what I saw. And it was one of the coolest experiences that I've ever had, because it was something.
Do you talk to any crew chiefs or anything? Or any drivers that retired early?
No, I don't think so. I just talked to a couple crew chiefs when something bad happened to their car down in the pit. I was like, "What happened?" They're like, "Well, we were just shaking it down because the alternator sucked before we got here." I'm like, okay, and then that's what I said. I was like, "Well, we were down here in the pits and just talked to the crew chief, and their alternator sucked, so they were shaking the car down instead of qualifying." back to you, Buck. But I really can't thank Buck enough for all his help, and it was just so cool to be out there. It did I think the nervous part was kicking off pre-race ceremonies, because I went there with not knowing who sang the national anthem, not knowing what was going on, and anything. So I had to sit down when I got there and write a script. Exactly.
Welcome to Larry King Laws, and it's not like it's long.
No, Larry King Laws Langley Speedway,
and it's a tongue twister at that.
For Virginia Ship Repair Race Night, presented by HoosierDriver.org. Yep. And then of course you have to segue in between the pre-race guest and then the opening invocation and then the national anthem, and you have to say that all very articulately and respectfully, because that's something that you don't want to stumble over when you're doing that. And I nailed it. I think I nailed it.
There you go.
They don't have it on video.
That college education is coming in handy now, isn't it? See, it's paying.
Yeah.
Your college. See, a lot of people go to college.
Yeah.
And they come out and they just wasted $100,000. You're actually using your $100,000 college education.
Yeah, it's true. And I've got a lot of that $100,000 still tied up in student loans. Thanks for reminding me, Dave.
Look, I'm a parent of college-age kids, so don't talk to me about. I got loans too.
Yeah, it has. You got a little different loans, but no, that was cool. And the racing. The racing at Langley was phenomenal. We had Matt Carter, who swept the modified races. And speaking of Matt,
he's going to be on the show. He was a 9 p.m. phone call last night.
And he so graciously.
Can you be on the show? And he goes, I'm a production manager and I have a meeting from 8:30 to 10:30. So, and I'm like, I said, well, you know what? I knew I could get here. We could get set up a little early, and we usually sit around here and just shoot the you know what. So I said, how about 8:05 for 10 minutes? He said yes. So we have him on the show.
All right. Can't wait to hear what he's got to say, not only about Langley, but his Langley victories, but his racing career.
Yeah. And Jeb Burton.
Jeb Burton, coming off of a stellar run at Bristol last week, but not only that, 2 weekends ago, a fast number 8 car at Richmond Raceway, collecting his career best finish of second place in the Virginia is for Racing Lovers 250 behind his teammate Justin Allgaier. What a run he had there.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys in the Xfinity and Cup that I wish they had. Like Jeb only gets to run a handful of races. You just wish that a sponsor would see that that they are good. Because I think in that number 8 car, I mean, obviously it's a fast car. It's Junior Motorsports.
It's just had some rotten luck this year. Yeah. But that car has been fast everywhere it's been. It's just, You
just wish a sponsor would go, hey, we want to do a whole season.
Yep. I mean, but that's not the climate that we're in right now. It used to be the climate. It used to be that the team would have the sponsor, and then they would fill it with the driver who they thought would give them the best chance to win races.
Yeah. But we have Jeb Burton on.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to go through the whole Burton family.
Yeah.
They're like royalty here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously, they're NASCAR royalty.
All right.
For the state of Virginia. And along with Rick Mast, and we got I got a long list. I don't even want to go there. By the way, we are going to have some guys that are retired on, and kind of catch up with them, and because some of them are very popular still. So we're working on that, by the way. And guess what?
What?
Randy's back with a story.
Oh, I can't wait. Bet you it's going to be a good one, too. He's saved up a couple of weeks, so he's got to bring the A game today.
Yeah, that's our fault probably, a little bit.
No. He was under the weather.
He was under the weather one week.
Under the weather.
Yeah, but see, once he was off the show once, you're like, and then we kind of fell into 3. It was weird. So, but Randy's back. Story time with Randy.
All right.
So we got a great show for you here, folks. Again, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to our bull, you know what, that we go through. Because a lot of times we make no sense at all. At least me.
Don't tell them that, man. You're breaking the fourth wall. Like you don't want them to figure that out.
But we got a great show for you, folks. So just hang in there, because I think it's time to get on the phones. Well, let's head right to the phone lines and talk to our first guest of the show. As we mentioned earlier, he drives the number 78 modified at Langley Speedway and other tracks when he gets a chance. He is Matt Carter. How you doing, Matt?
Good. How you doing?
Good, man. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the Racing Virginia family.
Yeah, I'm glad to be on. Thanks for having me.
I know we got to hurry up on this one because you got a production meeting.
Yes, sir.
So we'll pound this out.
Things are busy at work these days.
Yeah.
Okay.
I already talked to him earlier a couple of days ago, Dave. I'll let you start. How about that?
Okay, that's good. First of all, for those folks out there, give a brief history of how you got to where you are now.
All right. Yeah. I think basically back in 2007 is when I started my racing career. Back then, Langley Speedway had an open rule truck, full size truck division, and I raced in that for I guess about two and a half years, something like that. And then I got involved with the modifieds, and I've been stuck with the modifieds ever since, and really enjoyed the modifieds.
Speaking of the modifieds, and I don't want to bring up anything bad, but last year you had a pretty bad wreck, and I forget what it did to your leg, but it wasn't good because you had to have surgery. So, how difficult was that process of being hurt, watching other folks racing, and you having to go through rehab?
I mean, it was at the time. I didn't think it was very difficult. It had happened, and I just, immediately I wanted to get back into a car. So, over the winter, I teamed up with Mr. Randy Steers, and we decided, if we're going to do this, we're going to go all out and build something that's, capable of beating Mr. Beluzzo, because, as we all knew, he was the modified king, and if you could beat him, you were the man. So, and at the time, the car was pretty much destroyed, and so that kind of with teaming up with Mr. Sears and getting a brand new car built from Port City Race Cars, it just pretty much pumped me up to be successful this season. But there was a lot of things mentally challenging this year, with overcoming the injury last year, and then of course the death of Sean Beluzzo, the first race of the season. So mentally, it's been a little bit challenging for me, but I think the more that I'm out there, the better things have gotten.
Speaking of Sean, you guys had a really pretty cool bond, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
As for competitors. I mean, the banter back and forth on social media was so fun to watch because both sides knew that it was just, hey, I'm just ribbing you. But look, we're competitive. But this is, I mean, you put a mousetrap on the front of your car.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very fun. I mean, we put it out there to where, I mean, it was very fun, and it kept people in it, and it kept people interested in to go out and watch, and I mean, we put it all out there like we had this thing for each other on social media, but behind the scenes, we would talk, and he would help me out when I had questions, and we were fairly close, towards the end of last year. I mean, Sean was a great guy, and he was the type of guy that no matter what the situation was, he would always help you out, no matter what.
Yeah, that was the one thing I always knew about Sean. If you needed help, Matt Carter, needed help, Sean would come over to your shop, help you set that car up. Because Sean always he wanted to make sure that if he won, he was beating the best people out there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
You come off a double weekend. You won both, 40 lappers?
30 lappers.
30 lappers? 30 lappers?
Quick sprints.
Quick sprints. You won both of them. Have some great racing with Mark Wirtz.
Yes, sir.
Forget, was that 4 or 5 for the season?
Yeah, that's we got win number 6.
6? 6? I was one off. Okay.
Yeah.
You're outdoing Dave's expectation.
It's a good year, and this championship battle with you and Mark is actually pretty interesting and fun to watch because I think he is kind of in the same mentality as Sean Beluzzo. He would help anybody as well.
Oh yeah, Mark's a great guy. He's a class act guy. He's somebody that you can depend on. He's going to race you clean. Me and Mark, we've become pretty good friends this year, and it's been a lot of fun racing with him. I know, he's got a decent. I think as of right now, I think he's got a 19-point lead over me. Which that's going to be pretty hard. It's pretty much impossible for me to overcome that without him having some kind of failure or a bad night. But we're going to keep our heads high. We're going to continue to just go out there and try to win races, and whatever happens.
Go out and pound out wins.
That's right. That's all you can do.
Which is exactly what he did on Saturday night. I had the pleasure of being there in the infield for that, and one of the most impressive things that I saw, and one of the most impressive drives I think that I saw all year, was you methodically making your way up from 8th place to pass Mark. Mark had a great start to the race. He got out front early, and you had to make your way through traffic and catch him and pass him all under green flag conditions. So what was that like, having to show patience but also know that you had the car to beat and go up and beat him?
Well, see, yeah, that's been the challenging thing for me this year is figuring out how to work the field and how to race certain people. But that was a lot of fun. I think I don't know what lap Mark had got the lead, but I think we got second by lap 12, and it looked like he was about a straightaway away. And the whole time I'm thinking, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to catch him. If I catch him, I might not be able to pass him. But I hit my marks, and I just focused on making sure I was smooth on the wheel, and little by little, I could see him getting closer and closer. And I think by lap 26, I was to his bumper, and I kind of stayed behind him a lap, figured out where he was struggling at, and just went on the outside and just took advantage of it.
This year, 2020, has been probably the I don't know, I'm going to say it's the worst year I've ever had in racing.
Oh, yeah.
Because Virginia Motor Speedway, we didn't even race once. As bad as COVID and the pandemic have been, and then you add on the loss of Sean Beluzzo, man, this is just a weird year.
Yeah, it has been a very, very weird year.
What are the rest of your expectations for the remainder of the season?
Our expectations are to basically win the rest of the seasons, rest of the races at Langley, and we probably if they have the Thanksgiving Classic at Southern National, we'll probably race that. And I know I'm possibly looking at. I know they have speed weeks at the beginning of next year down in Florida at New Smyrna. We're kind of looking into maybe taking a car down there to race that.
That's pretty cool. It's always nice to be able to challenge yourself going out to a track you haven't been to, racing against guys you've never raced against, because the competition down there, obviously some of the best go down at the beginning of the year.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
With having the start of the season being, put off and maybe not even knowing that we're going to race. I mean, there was at one time that we didn't even know you were going to race.
Right. Well, it kind of benefited us a little bit because we didn't actually have this new car. I think we got it from Port City sometime in May, and it gave us a lot of time to go out and test and to really dial this new car in. But as far as the COVID thing, I mean, we pretty much we stay at the shop and we work hard and as we all know, that's where your speed comes in, is at the shop. So.
Yep. Well, we can't thank you enough for taking some time out of your very busy schedule because you're working.
Oh yeah. Well, I certainly appreciate y'all having me on.
Yeah. And I appreciate the great answers to the questions in Victory Lane at Langley on Saturday
God,
night.
he keeps throwing that he was a pit reporter. What is it?
Because I was nervous as hell doing that for the very first time.
Oh, yeah.
So I appreciate
you did very good. Very good.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Matt.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
All right. Folks, you can see him at Langley Speedway on Saturday, every other Saturday, running that number 78.
Yeah, it was dominant, man. That thing, he said it was on a rail, and it was. You could just tell how that thing was getting down into the corner, and then made that pass on Mark Wirtz, of all people, on the outside with about 4 laps to go.
Which outside is very difficult in Langley.
Yeah. And
very difficult.
He made it look easy.
Brandon, let's head back to the phone lines. He hails from the South Boston, Virginia area. That's where he, grew up and cut his teeth in a race car. He is now the current part-time, part-time driver for the number 8 State Water Heaters LS Tractor Rocky Boots Chevrolet Camaro for Junior Motorsports. He is Mr. Jeb Burton. How you doing, Jeb?
Having me on here.
Before long, we're going to have had the whole family on.
Yeah, we've already had Harrison. Now we've had you, and it's only a matter of time before your dad and uncle are coming on too.
Perfect. Yeah. Got to get Dad on here next.
At Richmond Raceway a couple weeks ago, you had your career best finish and a couple amazing runs in that number 8 car. The number 8 has had such terrible luck this year, but you drove the wheels off of it, leading laps and finishing right behind your teammate Justin Allgaier. First, what did that do for that team to run that well and get the finish it deserved? And then second, how badly did you want to win that race?
Yeah, we've had some terrible luck. I've had some mechanical issues, and then the night before we had a loose wheel. I just passed Kyle for 5th, and we had a decent car that night as well. So just put a whole clean race together. We've been so close this year to winning, been in the top 3 a bunch, and just hadn't got it done. And that last restart, I was doing everything I could. Justin was just a little bit better. I really wanted to win that race, but we got a couple more chances at it, and I'm doing everything I can off the track to be prepared, and working on next year's stuff as well. So hopefully we can get one of these. Going to Texas and Martinsville, 2 of my favorite tracks. So hopefully we can get a win at one of those places.
For you, the number 8 is such an iconic number car. I mean, obviously Dale Jr. He went and lobbied and
got it.
and got that number back. What's it like being a member of Junior Motorsports and driving that number 8?
It's really special to be at Junior Motorsports. They have a really good program there, and just really, really humbled to be there racing for them. I remember going there about 4 or 5 years ago and meeting with Kelly and the whole team, just trying to figure out how I could be there, because it was a place that I wanted to be, and just didn't have the funding at the time. And been working really hard off the track to make those things happen, and all the stars aligned, and now I'm here, and ran really well. We finished. I've only ran 16 races with JRM in the last 2 years, and we finished from 2nd to 9th every single time that we don't have a problem, and we're finishing every spot inside the top 10 but first. So I'm hoping that we can finish one spot better here soon.
Now, you with your current success, you introduced yourself to a national audience, I think, back in 2013 in the Truck Series. But take us back way before that. I want to know, how did you get involved? Obviously, your dad, Daytona 500 champ Ward Burton. But how did you get involved in racing? And take us through that start of racing up until you got to the Truck Series.
Yeah, so obviously I was a little kid growing up in the sport and being around it, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do, obviously, when I was a little kid. But when I got about 9, 10 years old, I started racing a little bit, and I actually when I was about 12, 13, started racing motocross, and I did that for a year, and then I decided I wanted to move to four wheels, and we got a go-kart, started racing around Virginia dirt tracks and running state races and things like that. And that was a lot of fun and taught me a lot. And I did that for a couple years. And then when I was about 15 and a half, Dad got a limited late model, and I was still racing go-karts, but then we moved to the limited late model stuff, and I did that till I was about 16 and a half, 17. Then we went to late model stock, and I was really fast in the limited cars and the late model stuff. I just couldn't give the right feedback to my guys. I went and ran an ARCA race, I believe in 2011 or 2010. I ran one race, and it was the worst race that I've ever ran in my life. It was horrible. But that race taught me everything. And when I went back, I started winning late model races right away. And it taught me a lot. And then the next year we went to the truck series. So it, right when I figured out the late model stuff, I stopped racing it. We still won a bunch of races at Ace, and I got a win at Turbo. But, now we've got a late model team with the Sellers and Daniel Silvestri. I know has been on here, and he's been doing a good job. And every now and then, last year, Peyton and HC will let me run their backup car and go have some fun. And actually, a couple of years ago, I got to run my own car, and we won a race at Ace. So that SBR program is taken off and got a bunch of good guys on there, and they've been running really well this year.
Is it more fun to see those drivers? You're kind of mentoring Daniel Silvestri in the late model stuff and doing that. Is it more fun to do that, or is it more fun to drive in the Xfinity series, or is it kind of equal?
Oh yeah. I mean, I enjoy helping Daniel and helping that team when I can. But man, I'm a race car driver, and I want to be behind the wheel any chance I get. So anytime I get the chance to be in that SBR car, I do it. I have a lot of fun, and I miss those days. It's not really much pressure, and just go have fun. And we got a really special group there and smart people on those cars. So we got it going on there. It's a lot of fun.
Well, was listen to the your boss's podcast, because we're trying. We're competing with him now.
Yeah. Okay.
There you go.
We're the next big thing to challenge the Dale Jr. download.
Because we're just a Virginia show. I mean, we're talking Virginia. But the one thing that he did, he was talking about with Justin Allgaier, which he is such a cool kid. I can say that because I'm a
34-year-old kid.
Yeah, I can say that though because I'm almost double his age. And Dale mentioned that you were one of the drivers out there that developed relationships with sponsors and handled sponsors some of the best that he had seen. How does that make you feel?
Well, it's really nice of him to notice that. I think I think a lot of people have been noticing that. Obviously Dad had success and had a great career, but at the end of the day, my dad's not paying for any of my racing career. He would go broke doing it. He helped me on the late model stuff, but I found out pretty fast that if I'm going to do this, I'm going to have funding to do it, and that's just the way it works now. So I work really hard off the track when I'm not on it to try to find business deals for my partners, and it's got to be more than a logo on a race car just going around in a circle. It's got to be more. You got to be entertaining people. You got to have the relationships with them. You got to find the business for them. So something that I work really hard on, and I'm really lucky to have the partners that I do, and all of them are friends and family to me now, and they all work great together, and they all want to help me. So it's been a fun journey, and I really want to get all my partners in victory lane. So we're working hard, and like I said, I'm not sure what I'm doing next year, so we're working hard on that every day to try to figure that out. I'd love to be full time. And I think we could run for a championship. It's just right now I don't have the funding to be full time at Junior Motorsports. But yeah, it means a lot that they'll take a notice, and I think a lot of other people are too. And that's all we can do is wake up every day and work hard and try to make stuff happen. So that's what I'm trying to do.
So you spoke about your dad. Your dad has facilitated some really great deals. He had state water heaters way back in the day when he was driving the 4-car for Morgan McClure, and that relationship has developed. And he's pretty wild on social media as well in promoting those sponsors. Do you get a kick out of how he does that, and have you taken anything from that?
Yeah, obviously without Dad, the State Water Heaters relationship would have never started, and they've been a great partner of ours for a long, long time. So that's pretty cool. And then also Dad, yeah, he does some cool stuff on social media, and he does everything he can to help my partners as well. And a lot of my partners help the Jeb Burton Wildlife Foundation too in their efforts. So it's been a lot of fun to get that on social media, and obviously the snake videos. I think people enjoy that.
Yeah, the snake videos. No snakes. Yeah. No.
That leads me into something else that I wanted to ask, because he posted that one video, and then your Uncle Jeff said that he was, imagine having to live with this as a kid. How different are those two, and how, because it seems like Jeff and Ward are night and day when it comes to personalities.
Yeah, they're totally different. I mean, Dad wears boots, Jeff wears shoes. Jeff will be in a collared shirt, Dad's in a T-shirt. They're just totally different. Jeff lives in Charlotte, Dad lives in Virginia. They're just totally different people. But yeah, I mean, that's Dad, and I don't think Jeff likes snakes, and I think Dad used to terrorize Jeff as a kid with snakes too. So that's probably what that's coming from.
That's awesome.
Now, you and your dad actually do a lot of hunting. In fact, you just came back from a hunting trip out Montana or somewhere.
Yeah, we went out to Montana with the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, and man, we had an amazing trip. And we're 10 miles in on the mountain, hunting the wild animal. There's grizzly bears out there, and we're trying to find the elk, and you're using the wind, so the wind's not blowing to them, and you're calling them, and it was awesome, and we're doing it with a bow and arrow too. So it's a pretty neat experience.
That's crazy. And speaking of that, you have a TV show that's wrapped around things like that. How did that come about, and how has that been, having a TV show, Crossroads with the Burtons?
It's been a lot of fun. We were already obviously doing all the hunting and fishing and conservation work, and obviously the racing, and I just thought that it could be something really cool where people could keep up with what Dad's doing and what I'm doing, and kind of show behind the scenes at race shops and stuff like that, what's going on. And it's been a lot of fun, and we've got some really cool partners on there as well. And it airs on the Sportsman channel on Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. And Wednesday at noon. So it's been a lot of fun.
As far as hunting goes, a lot of people misunderstand the reason behind hunting. It's more conservation. Give us an explanation of why you should there should be hunting. I mean, because there are a lot of people out there that just say you guys are terrible.
Yeah, I know. And for me, when I don't know things on a subject, I try not to comment on them, right? And I feel like a lot of people do that when it comes to hunting. And us hunters, we love to hunt the game, but we don't want to kill everything. And the killing part isn't what it's about to begin with. It's not just about shooting something. That for a great organization like the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, they have provided billions and billions of dollars because of hunters doing conservation work. I mean, from protecting land to introducing the elk to the different places like Virginia. So, us hunters love to hunt and chase the game, but at the same time, we want to take take care of the animals, so they can always be there, and we can doing a little hunting isn't going to hurt anything, and that's why we have the game laws in place to protect the species that we're hunting, so we're not doing any damage to them. And at the same time, all those hunting licenses and all that conservation work, like I said, is billions and billions of dollars a year that goes into helping a lot of different species and animals. And that's what's bad. It's not always the case. And just getting outdoors and making it happen. And I don't have to do anything to get my meat. I've got my freezer full of milk and deer meat.
You got your freezer full right now, but I'm sure you're wanting to get a few more trophies to fill up a trophy case. I tried to segue that the best I could.
Yeah.
You grabbed your first truck series win back in 2013, and I can't believe, because I watched that live on TV and was pumped to watch you get it. Can you believe that's been 7 years ago? You've had such a interesting path to where you are right now, jumping to BK Racing Cup full time in 2015 in what you would call subpar equipment, I would say. Has that made you grow as a person?
It has. I had it going on there in 2015. I had a group of guys, and we won 7 poles and won a race, and still won a couple of homes, and finishing in the top 5 in points. And the next year I think we're probably going to win the championship, and sponsorship happened, and luckily Duke Thorson gave me the opportunity, and I went and did that. And I went and did the BK thing. I didn't really have anything else, and they gave me an opportunity, and it's just been an up and down road. I went to Petty's, and we lost sponsorship there, and then I didn't really have much in 17. I had a couple races in 18, and then last year I had 7 races with JRM, and then this year's the most I've ran in a long time. So it's been a crazy journey. I've definitely had to have the ups and downs, and it's been a lot of times where I wanted to say the hell with it and be done with it. But I kept fighting, and luckily I'm at a good place now, and we're working really hard so I can race even more next year. I know I can do it. I just need to be in the car more and be racing more so I can be in the conversation to win races and hopefully get opportunities in the Cup Series soon.
We've been rooting for you here.
Yeah, we have.
And your perseverance,
yes.
As obviously people like Dale Jr. taking notice of your perseverance, and it has not been lost on us here in Racing Virginia, and I think a national audience as well, because I think you've got a lot of fans out there who realize what hard work that you've put in.
Well, I appreciate that, and I have learned one thing, that if you don't work for it, it's probably not going to happen. So if it happens, it happens. If it don't, it don't. But I'm not going to let it be from that time. Right? And working hard. That's what we all have to do every day. Is no matter what we're doing, is get up and try to make it happen. And y'all are doing the same thing right now with the show, and it's growing, and people are listening to it. So y'all are doing a good job as well.
Well, we can't thank you enough, Jeb, for taking some time out of your very busy schedule to visit with us. We know you have a meeting you got to get to this morning, so we just want to welcome you to the Racing Virginia family.
Officially.
And this will hopefully not be the last time we have you on.
Yeah, well, I also enjoy talking with you all, and I've been a fan of y'all's podcast ever since you started, and I was wondering when you're gonna have me on, so I appreciate you having me on.
All right, we need to have. I got to have some help from you though. Okay, we need 3 people. I need you to talk to 3 people for us.
All right.
Your dad, your uncle, and Junior.
All right. Well, I can try. I know I can get that.
Yeah,
I'm sure we get Dad, and we're working on your uncle. And to be honest with you, I interviewed Dale Jr., probably a million times when he was in the late model division when I was doing a lot of asphalt stuff. So I haven't. I told Brandon I was making it my mission to have Dale Jr. on because he has a bit of a Virginia family connection. So his. I'd like to have him on. Yeah,
there you go. It's Dave's sales. Ward,
sales
Jeff,
pitch.
and Dale is his sales pitch.
Well, I can tell you one thing, and this is kind of my motto: chasing sponsorship. All they can say is no.
Exactly. No just means there's a yes coming down the road, baby.
All right.
Hey,
There you go.
Jeb, thank you so much, and we look forward to talking to you again, man.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all
Thank
again.
you. Man, what a cool kid.
Absolutely.
And how have we not had him on?
Because you didn't have me up until a few months ago. I haven't got that drive and that.
Yeah,
I gave him my sales pitch.
Yeah, actually, we were going to call him.
Yeah.
But you just happened to bump into him, I think, during the Richmond races, right?
No, so what happened was I sent him a DM, direct message, because we were doing this Virginia's for Racing Lovers video.
That's right.
And he coming to the track. This is what a cool guy he is. On his way to the track to race in the race that he finished second in, he recorded a video for us to put into the compilation video. Like that's
cool.
That's what kind of guy that Jeb Burton is. And then I shot him a text the other night and said, "Hey man, we would love to have you on the podcast, talk about your great finish at Richmond and a bunch of other stuff." And he was like,
"Dude, it makes me feel good that he says he's been listening since the beginning for 3 years, man."
Absolutely. So
I should have. I hope he knows that we got it on Apple Podcasts and Spotify now. Maybe making it easier.
I'll send him another note here, and I will absolutely send him a text message thanking him and sending him a link to the podcast as well.
Yeah.
So cool guy, easy to root for, hardworking. That's what we love around here in Racing Virginia.
Yeah. By the way, folks, speaking of the Apple Podcast and all the directories, we can't have oh Lord, there's no excuse as a race fan that you don't listen to this podcast.
Yeah, it is now
other than that you just despise me and Brandon.
And I hope.
I hope that's not the case.
I hope that's not the case. I think we make it fun and lively and personable enough.
Because this is not a live show, we need to try to figure out how to get the fans involved. And what we're trying to do, we're trying to get in a position where we know we're going to have guests several weeks ahead of time.
But like you said earlier,
it's so hard in racing. It really is so hard in racing.
Especially because people like Matt. Matt did something incredible, and we wanted to talk to him after he did, after he swept the modified races.
Yeah, but I'm talking like Jeb, because then we can set up something where the fans can, we can still have them ask questions. I'm stupid. I don't know.
You said it. I did not.
I don't know if I can answer 5th grade questions like they do on Door Bumper Clear. They do a terrible job too.
That's funny.
So,
I don't think we're popular enough to do an Ask Junior yet. We don't have that as people.
As people.
As people, we're not quite that.
Dude,
level,
I'm gonna use every angle I can to get that, make that happen, and we're gonna somehow.
You gave Jeb a sales pitch on the show.
But you also, you have to start helping me because you are a Denny Hamlin fanboy.
You keep saying this. I am. Dave is painting me as a Denny Hamlin fanboy. When one time we were debating is Denny Hamlin a Hall of Famer? And
because
absolutely.
Because in our industry, what we do. Social media, podcasting,
all that.
You can't have a favorite.
No, absolutely not. I've been asked this question a bunch, from Chicagoland Speedway fans, from Route 66 Raceway fans, and even when I made it here to Richmond Raceway. Who's your favorite driver? Who's your favorite driver? And I honestly don't have one. I have drivers that I have have talked to and have been nice to me, and I'll pull for. But you cannot have a favorite driver, especially if you're running social media for a track account or any other account, because you cannot play favoritism.
No, you can't. No. It's like here at Virginia Speedway.
Yeah.
I have people that I kind of gravitate towards a lot.
But that's life. That
it's
happens
also
in life.
but what it you become friends with drivers, especially in the short track industry. It's a little bit more difficult, maybe a little bit in the NASCAR stuff.
Sure.
Because you don't see them that often.
Exactly, and I'll give you a great example of probably something that you're talking about right now. When I worked up at Chicagoland, Justin Allgaier, obviously from Springfield, Illinois. So we would do stuff with him to promote our Xfinity Series races coming up, because he's Justin Allgaier, he's the hometown guy, plus he's amazing to work with. And so we did this media event, and then he runs his Xfinity Series race, and then right after that, the All-Stars were running at the dirt track across the street. So, of course, Dave, you should commend me for this.
You do.
Hard day at the track, covering and doing all the stuff for the Xfinity Series race, and then I went over to be a race fan and watch the race at the dirt track.
There you go. Sprint cars too.
They're fun. They were fun. I think
people don't realize how fast they are.
I think Dave Blaney.
Oh, and by the way,
Dave Blaney was running in that.
Speaking of sprint cars, real quick, because I know you want to. I like to interrupt. I don't know what it is.
I was going to say, I'm telling a story here.
I know you. Well, hold on. Kyle Larson, 2 more wins.
Did he do it again?
Yeah.
I did.
Up in Pennsylvania, Lincoln, and somewhere else.
Of course. It
was a 20,000 to win race, whatever it was.
When does it become more surprising that he finishes anything other than first? Are we there yet? Especially in a sprint car?
No, well, I mean, he finished third a couple times.
It's like, a couple times.
Finish your story.
Okay, all right. So, you know the All-Stars, right?
Yep.
So, very well. So I get in the door. I'm walking up to find a seat in the grandstands. Place was packed. It was fantastic. And all of a sudden I hear "Hey, Brandon!" Look over. There's Justin Allgaier sitting down there, watching the race. Hey, man, what's going on?
He's
from rows over, and he's like, "Come here," and we sat and just talked for 5 minutes. Hey man, how was your day? And he just got done running a 300-mile race at Chicagoland. He's there, and the point is that he made he could have just seen me and walked up and
Look,
he is just that kind of guy. And those are the types of drivers that you develop those relationships with.
I heard him first of all, when he won both races at Richmond, I was so happy for him.
Yep.
He's had a up and down season.
Sure.
And a lot of it is just mechanical stuff.
Just
being being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yep.
But when I was listening to that podcast for Dale Jr., what are we doing? Are we promoting Dale Jr.'s podcast?
I listened.
Or his company, Dirty Mo Media?
Because
we talk about door bumper clear all the time, too. By the way, we're going to have us a NASCAR spotter on. I'm not going to say who, but we're going to have a NASCAR spotter because he's from Virginia.
Yeah.
Sure. I lost my train of thought.
Oh, we're good. I got you. Because the Dale Jr. download with Justin Allgaier.
Oh,
I listened to that on the way to Langley Speedway to do my gig.
When I'm listening to him, I'm like, man, I wish he'd have had better opportunities in Cup.
Mm-hmm. Yep, because he got the talent.
Yeah, he's such a personal. Talking about good with sponsors, Brandt.
The relationship that he developed with Rick Brandt.
And that was
the prototype
for me as a marketing guy.
Yeah,
I think you probably kind of listened a little closer when they were talking about developing relationships.
Yep.
Our job, or the job of the marketing or sponsorship guy at a local short track is no different than a NASCAR driver.
Yep.
It's building relationships with sponsors and becoming friends and family and knowing their first name and when their birthday is. And
that's one of the things that spills over into every single part of your life, no matter what it is. Developing those relationships and just being good to other people, being good to humans, and it'll all work out. Karma. You like Gary Vee, right?
Yes.
I was watching a video of his the other day where he was talking about the ruthlessness of business and stuff like that, and he said it was something that resonated with me. Karma is like the most natural of energies, because if you do good with other people more often than not, it comes back to you.
Right.
Hey,
You know what time it is?
what time is it?
It's story time with Randy Hallman. We've missed him the last few weeks. Yep. Welcome back, Randy.
Hey guys, how are you?
Good, man.
Good.
Biggest thing that we have been missing in our life is story time with Randy.
You must have really good lives going. Is all.
Both of us have pretty exciting lives, but it's so nice to hear stories about the past. I've always been one of those guys that says that you know that old adage, you don't know where you're going unless you know where you've been. So and history. I mean, without history, we have nothing. Mm-hmm. The racing on the dirt in Daytona, if it wasn't for that, we probably wouldn't have what we have here at Richmond.
Well, there you go. Yeah, sure.
So what's the story? Give me a story. Come on.
All right.
Dave, we miss you and we love you, and Dave is just demanding of you right now. Get to it.
Come on. I need my story.
Well, I was thinking about this as the playoffs got underway, and it's a short little thing, but it just makes you think a little bit. This goes back to my first, I think it was my second year on the beat, which would have been 1973. And it's like a number of my stories from back then. It has to do with me thinking I know what I'm doing, but I don't, So there I am. I'm at Darlington, and I believe it was the spring race in '73. Could have been the Southern 500, but I'm there, and one of the things that was happening to me back then was I was enjoying. This was a new beat to me. I watched races when I was a kid. I'd kind of gotten away from it. Now I was back, and I had this new beat to cover, and it was so fascinating and interesting, and the people and the sights and sounds and all that whenever I could, I would bring somebody along to the races to let them know what it was that I was doing and all that sort of thing. So I had my friend Richard from my high school days was pretty good with a camera, a writer himself, and so I got Richard photo credentials for Darlington, and said, "Come on, we'll go to the races together, and then I'll have some photos that I can use. If not there on deadline, then I'll be able to use them later." So he's a total greenhorn. I'm just about a total greenhorn. And we get to Darlington, and we're all signed in and wandering around and getting pictures before the race of different drivers and all that sort of thing. It's great. And then I get this great idea. I think, Richard, I'll get him a great spot to take photos from at the beginning of the race. So we cross the track there when they're getting ready to go, and people are walking up out of the racetrack. There's a gate that goes out as you enter what then was turn one. They flip the track around now, and that would be turn three. But anyway, the press box is kind of right over that spot, and but instead of going up to the press box, we make a turn and we go along the outside the wall, the concrete wall. It's about a foot thick, maybe 2 feet thick, and there's a pathway about a yard wide, an asphalt pathway, and then it kind of drops off, down a bank. And I take Richard out there with his camera, and I think, well, we'll just set up out here and watch the start as they come into turn one, which will be great because, they'll all be, lined up in the grid and picking up, getting up to speed. And, you've seen photos like that, and that'll be great. And we'll just watch the start of the race from, leaning against the wall. He'll have his camera set up. So we get there, and we get there about the time all the parade laps have been done, and the parade lap vehicles like fire trucks and sponsor trucks and all that have pulled into the pits, and it's now down to just the pace car and the field, and they're coming around out of 4 to get started. The pace car is about to drop off, and Bill Gasway, who was the competition director at the time, from where he was in the tower, calls off the start and says, "Turn the lights back on the dang pace car because we can't start yet. Who are those idiots hanging out on the wall in turn one?"
Oh no!
And there we were, and all of a sudden there's security people coming our way, and yelling at us, "What the heck are you doing here? Get away from that wall!" We all but got arrested.
Oh my gosh!
They came and fetched us and got us, and as I said, the press box was practically right over our shoulders behind us.
So everybody could see that what you were doing.
Oh yes, they could. And believe me, Richard, they let Richard go on and find a spot, up on the stand somewhere. But me, they just, kind of patted me on the back or spanked me, whatever it was, and sent me back up to the press box. And do you think maybe there was a joke or two at my expense when I got up there?
Oh, they were ripping you. They had to be ripping you hard.
Yes, they were. And Gasway was he was, I guess you could say he was furious at the moment, but by the time we actually spoke, which was the end of that race, or I think it was probably the next week, which was I think it was the Southern 500, because I believe we spoke the next week, which would have been at Richmond. And by then he had, it was funny. And Gasaway and I were he kidded me about that for years, but we had a good relationship the whole time. And so that was fine. But one of the things that made me think about it was how fragile the race itself can be sometimes. How different things can have an impact on the race. As it turned out, this wasn't a big deal because they just went around another lap or two and then started. But things happen. I mean, you remember that guy who climbed up on the fence
at Richmond.
Yep.
At Richmond a couple of years ago. And it brought out a caution.
Sitting up there just watching.
Yeah. And literally. And
took his beer with him, too.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. He was hosting the sport itself. And those things have an impact on the race. I mean, who needed a caution right then?
Yeah, and who didn't? How did that affect the entire complexity of the entire race from then on?
Exactly. Things like that.
Well, and the guy, and good thing he didn't fall. He was way. I mean, he was way
like,
up there.
Yeah, and you don't know. Like, obviously, he was toasted, so he didn't know what the hell was going on. But you don't know how that fence is going to bend when you get up there either.
Nope.
Well, I know. The whole thing was terrifying. I was watching it, thinking, "Oh my gosh," And fortunately, it wasn't any worse than just a caution that may or may not have. It had an impact on the outcome of the race, but things happen. Little moments happen. Somebody's hot dog wrapper gets on somebody's grill, or some idiot reporter who doesn't know what he's doing hangs up, wants to lean on the wall and turn and watch the race start. I mean, crazy things go on.
It's fun. It's funny because because I've been doing social media for many different tracks. So far, they'll have me and I'll do a race weekend. You're always like anxious and thinking, am I going in this place where I shouldn't go? Like, am I doing this thing that I'm not supposed to do?
That happens at a short track. So, we get a lot of photographers and we tell them they need to wear.
Sure.
And Bill will come into Bill Sawyer will come into the tower and he'll go, "Who is that idiot over there in turn 2?" Well, that idiot happens to be our photographer.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, but
Sure.
and I've actually seen somebody try to run across the track during a race.
Yeah. That happened at Pocono back in the early 90s, I think it was.
God.
But did you see it happen like live in person?
No, in
like,
live, in person. I saw the sprint cars.
Oh, good God.
Oh, Lord. We won't even go into that. But stuff happens. It really does. And I'm like you, Brandon. You go to a track, sometimes you don't know.
A track especially you might not be familiar with.
Where you're supposed to be able to go and where you can't. Sometimes they ought to give the social media guy and the photographers a piece of paper and go, these are the places you cannot go.
Yeah, like the places you can't. Yeah. It's funny. I did I went to Dominion Raceway for the first time earlier this year, and Dinah and the
stood in the middle of the track while the race was going on?
No, didn't go that far. But I will tell, I didn't know quite where to go, and they were like, oh, here, they were wonderful, absolutely wonderful. But I went up the stairs, and I ended up in the suite tower. And I'm there. Nobody was around. But even then, I knew I wasn't doing anything wrong. I knew I wasn't going to do anything wrong or try to mess up anybody's day or be where I wasn't supposed to. But I still had that feeling of, I don't think I should be here. Where am I going to go? I'm just going to go back down to the grandstands.
Well, I've thought since that had Gasaway, had nobody noticed me, or had Gasaway just decided, I'm just going to let this thing go and watch and see what happens.
Yep.
I think, first of all, Richard's nice telephoto lens probably would have been ruined forever from the sandblasting it would have gotten.
Oh yeah.
As they came through, and I'm pretty sure that I and maybe both of us would have bailed out and tumbled down that bank as the cars came by, because I'm sure it would have been a terrifying moment.
Yeah, they'd have been close.
I was doing that.
Oh my God.
I was doing that. I had my photo vest and I did it all official. But at Richmond, I was right there on the front stretch underneath the flag stand, taking video of the starts and the restarts of the race. And for anybody who's never done that is a feeling unlike anything. As 40 cars are going by you at over 100 miles an hour restarting, stuff is flying in your eyes.
I got one for you.
Okay.
Virginia Motor Speedway, I forget what special event it was, World Championship event. I think that's what it was. And so I wanted to get some special video. So I went, you've been there.
Oh yeah.
There's steps that go under the flagman.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And there's a little buffer because it's, the old fence and the new fence. So, and you can kind of stand there. You're not supposed to. I didn't get in trouble because I'm obviously the.
Yeah. You're the guy that would get your.
But I have my phone. and I got it hanging out
Yeah.
so that I could catch all the cars coming right by it.
Yeah.
I come upstairs and I forget who it was. It might have been Bill. He goes, "Are you an idiot?" He said you could have fallen, and and then I showed him the video. He goes, "Never mind." 'Cause I mean, you have to do some stupid stuff. I mean, there's a lot of photographers that to get the good shot.
Especially at a dirt track where stuff is flying everywhere.
Well, at a short track, so a lot of times they don't have walls or anything in the infield.
Yeah.
So you got cars coming at you, and the photographers are running for, their life.
There is no way. I don't say no way because I have a price, but to get me out there behind,
You almost made me spit my water out.
To get me behind 2 Jersey walls there in like turn 3 of a dirt track, and those cars are coming by.
Well, hey,
there's brave photographers shooting that.
Yeah, Larry Burnett and Al Golder do it all the time, especially over in turn 1.
No, sir.
So, but
Yeah.
All right, before we let you go, Randy, it's been whittled down to the final 12. Okay. Who do you think? Who is your pick to win? Or I'll make it even easier. Who are your final 4?
I think you made it harder. That's
Did
harder.
Is that harder?
That's harder.
Well, I figured if you could pick more people, it's easier.
Okay, got it.
Oh man, I'm trying. My memory is being taxed because I can't remember. I want to stick with whoever the final 4 I picked in print.
Okay.
Back before it started. So it was Harvick and Hamlin, and then 2 others. And who were they? I can't remember now who I picked. I think it was Keselowski and gosh, who was my 4th? Maybe Keselowski and Truex.
That's not a bad 4.
No, that's not a bad 4.
That's not a bad 4.
Now the thing is, look, we got 7 races left, and that's time for anybody to make their case, like Tony Stewart did when he entered the playoffs with no wins and won 5 of the 10.
One of the most incredible.
And he was a worthy champion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, 7 races, it's time for somebody to do that. Kyle Busch, gosh, he looked like he was going to finally break through and win that race at Bristol, and he could win. I keep thinking he's going to, and he could do it. He could win 4 or 5 of the last 7 if he got hot.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
But we are just right on the cusp of having this season come down to the point where if anybody other than Harvick is the champion, it'll just have people shaking their head.
Yeah.
Right now it's Harvick and then, okay, maybe Hamlin.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, it's like, no, it shouldn't be anybody else. It's just like,
because
yeah.
Because it is set up like the setup like back in the day, even back a few years ago before the elimination format and the final 4 were at the championship race. Even when at the start of the chase, if you were consistent throughout the entire chase, you would win the championship.
Yeah.
And before that, obviously, it was the cumulative of the entire season.
Right?
Harvick could win the rest of the races and have a traditional 200, 300 point lead going into Phoenix and break or wreck on the first lap at Phoenix, and he's not the champion.
Right. Yeah. That's as I've written and said a number of times, that's the part of this playoff setup that I do not like. I can stand it. I don't really much go for the playoff period, but I can stand a 10 race deal. And if you got to have eliminations, I guess maybe I can go with that. But having it come down to the last race, there's just too much. There's too much going on. It's like I've had people say to me, "Oh yeah, but the NFL, the NBA have playoffs. It's great, and we get to watch that happen. And college, the March Madness, and that's great. We need to have a playoff just like that. come down to the last race. And I say, yeah, but let's just take the NFL. And it comes down to let's say a repeat of last night, New England and Seattle, two teams, and they're just going great guns, and they come down to the end. That's fine. Except that in NASCAR, you've got New England and Seattle and the other 30 teams running around the field in the way. I mean, it's too crazy.
It would be like New England and Seattle playing the traditional game, and then the rest of the teams like shooting Nerf guns and doing all kinds of crazy crap. The rest of the teams are playing paintball on the field at the same time that they're trying to play a football game.
Speaking of championships and champions, you had the opportunity to sit down with Jimmy Johnson for the latest column, a chat with Jimmy Johnson. He just seems like the coolest dude. Really does.
He is. He is so cool. That's exactly what he is. He is. You know, he's done everything he set out to do.
Very humble. Very humble.
He's very humble. You couldn't ask for a more upstanding guy to be the face of your sport, and NASCAR is lucky to have gotten him and to be able to celebrate him and his career. I'd love it for him to win another race. I didn't want him to win the championship because, as I wrote in another column, for that very reason. It's like, if he just weaseled his way in on points and then kind of had a good 10 races but didn't win, and then got in the playoffs finally, you wouldn't have to win. You just have to finish ahead of the other three guys. It would be like he would win his 8th championship and suddenly move ahead of Earnhardt and Petty with a championship like that. Oh my gosh. I would be fine with him winning 8, but I want him to win his 8 in good fashion.
I'm really excited to see him in an IndyCar on the road courses.
Oh man.
Yeah,
well, I am too. That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
That is going to be fun. It really is.
I am still holding out hope that when IndyCar comes back to Richmond next year, that
I don't think he'll do it. It's too fast.
I know.
I think that's the reason why he's doing the...
Yeah, exactly. He's not going to do the Texases or the Indianapolis 500 or anything. But, man, that would be fun to watch Jimmy Johnson in an IndyCar at Richmond. Oh.
Wouldn't that be a treat? That'd be so great. Yeah.
Well, as always, man, we can't thank you enough for visiting with us, and our day is much better because we have a story.
And and we get to experience all of our like transgressions at the racetrack that we might have gotten in trouble for too. That helped me.
Yeah, I seem to have a transgression or two, so that we'll go. Well, I'll see if I can think of another one any time.
Thank you so much, Randy.
Great to talk to you guys. Have a great week. All right.
I miss the stories.
Yeah,
I really do. I mean, they're not all about Virginia, but it's about someone that covered the sport for all these years that is from Virginia.
Yeah, his name's on the deadline room right out there. Yeah. he gets to tell any story he wants.
Yeah. Oh yeah. By the way, he's got a lot of great columns. If you've never been to the Race in Virginia website, you need to go there and read some of his columns. It's some really good stuff.
Absolutely. Look, a nice.
Plus, he's a good writer.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Going to journalism school myself, and then going and reading the stuff that
writing's hard.
You ain't kidding, bro.
Trust me. And just doing press releases is hard. Yeah. But I mean, it's got a bunch of columns there. Go there to check them out. Also, the schedule for the rest of the year. Yep. And of course, we got links to our social media sites
at Racing Virginia, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. And more importantly.
More importantly. Because it took me, how long did it take me to get this done?
I don't know, man.
Probably 3 years. Almost 3 years.
3 years?
Well,
you worked on it constantly for 3 years.
Hold on. I wasn't in a position to do it for the first 2.
Okay.
after the third one, I got more responsibility.
They started treating you like a big kid.
Yeah. I'm not about, I wasn't just a host.
Yeah.
I was.
You're so much more.
Yeah. Now I'm a producer.
That's true. It's
true.
It's absolutely true. You fit the definition of a producer. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, because I hopefully, we take this raw stuff and we make it sound
into something good.
We make it sound better. And there is no excuse. None. There is no excuse that you can give me that you can't find a way to listen, because
no more.
The thing in your hand that you usually have up to your ear, your phone. You can. Look, there it is, right? Spotify. Yeah.
I got Spotify is my platform of choice.
Mine's Apple Podcasts right now.
And now we have.
But
both.
you know what? I've been exploring Spotify a little bit more.
Oh, it's so nice.
Oh, we got. This is what, folks. You may not be on it, but Amazon Prime, obviously, you get Amazon Music.
Yep.
Well, we were one of the first group of podcasts to be approved for Amazon Music.
Milestones happening here at the Racing Virginia podcast.
Is that cool?
I love it. It's awesome.
We're on the Google.
I just learned that
Google has
today.
Google has a new podcast directory, so we're on that. I mean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, Stitcher, Tweaker, Deeker. I mean, there's a bunch of them.
Butcher, Baker, Candlestick Maker.
Castbox. I mean, look.
Wherever you want to listen to
whatever app you use to listen to podcasts, because we know that podcasting and the listening is going up in podcasting. This used to be an old man's kind of thing, that you'd listen to talk radio.
Yeah, but it has evolved.
It is. Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, that's.
And you know what it is? It's convenience, because people, the live shows that we used to do, people, found it hard. They had to schedule a 2-hour block.
Yep.
Or an hour block.
Yep.
To listen.
Yeah.
Because you normally didn't, at that time, you didn't even upload an MP3. So it's just convenience.
Yep. And people's habits have changed. They want things on demand, and you have to.
I would have never thought I was a podcast guy.
And you have to, when you're producing these things, you have to make them a little bit evergreen for the listener to enjoy it in time. If they want to listen to it next week, it's still got to be enjoyable to them next week.
Yeah. But as always, our goal here is to promote racing in the state of Virginia. The drivers, the tracks, the series, of all types. And I think you've seen it, that we're starting to branch out and not only have circle track guys, but we have some drag guys. We had two of the best road course racers in the world.
I'm still flabbergasted
Tommy
by the fact
Minter.
that we've been able to talk.
I told Tommy Minter. I told somebody that I had Tommy on. Yeah. He goes, "You're." I said, "Yeah, go. I'm here. Here it is, right here. Let me show it." So,
and he was fantastic. Everybody's been fantastic.
Yeah.
This was fantastic. Just absolutely awesome.
Look, there's a lot of guys that we haven't got to yet that run Xfinity that we're trying to get on, and we're very blessed. So we can't thank you enough for listening. For Brandon Brown, I'm Dave C. Until next week, okay? Keep racing, Virginia.